Are you willing to pay 30% more for your car? Or face a healthcare crisis due to a shortage of supplies? The U.S. China trade war is triggering a global domino effect. From skyrocketing car prices and a stalled tech industry to the looming risk of a severe fuel shortage. What's really happening, and who will come out on top? Watch until the end to get the full picture and see how it impacts your wallet. Hello, you're watching Combat Compass, your go-to source for the latest breaking news on economics and technology. The trade war between the U.S. and China has escalated to a whole new level. The U.S. slaps a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles. China strikes back by cutting off the rare earth supply. Soaring prices and a shaken global economy. If you think this only affects big corporations, think again. Car prices, smartphones, healthcare, everything is about to change in ways you wouldn't believe. Get started now. Number 7. The auto industry takes a heavy hit. On February 1, 2025, U.S. President Donald Trump announced a plan to impose a 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico, including cars and auto parts. The goal of this policy is to encourage domestic manufacturing and protect the American industry. The North American auto industry heavily relies on cross-border supply chains, with parts frequently moving between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico during production. Imposing tariffs could disrupt this supply chain, drive up costs, and impact automakers' profitability. Forecast: car prices in the U.S. could rise by 10 to 30%. Estimates suggest that a 25% tariff could add around $6,250 to the price of a $25,000 imported car, with most of this cost likely being passed on to consumers. The result? Consumers pay more. The industry takes a hit. Thousands of jobs are at risk. Number 6. China strikes back. The rare earth leverage. China has implemented export restrictions on rare earth elements to protect its national interests and reinforce its dominant position in the industry. Rare earths, consisting of 17 critical elements, are widely used in the production of electric vehicles, wind turbines, and various electronic devices. Currently, China accounts for about 60% of global rare earth production and nearly 90% of refining capacity. China is requiring exporters to monitor and report the use of rare earths in the supply chain, citing resource protection and national security concerns. China's tightening control over rare earths has raised concerns among many countries, especially the U.S. and European nations, due to their heavy reliance on China's supply. Although these countries are working to diversify their supply and reduce dependence, developing alternative supply chains comes with significant cost and environmental challenges. This directly impacts industries such as smartphones, EV batteries, semiconductors. Number 5. The EV battle: U.S. versus China. To protect its domestic industry, the U.S. has imposed a 100% tariff on electric vehicles imported from China. However, since the U.S. imports very few EVs from China, this move is largely precautionary and aimed at giving the American EV industry time to catch up with China. But China has strong subsidy policies, making its electric vehicles more competitive in the global market. Since 2009, the Chinese government has spent at least $230 billion subsidizing EV manufacturers. This has allowed companies like BYD not only to dominate the domestic market, but also to expand internationally. The U.S. still heavily relies on batteries and raw materials from China, which account for 30% of EV production costs. In the first half of 2024, U.S. imports of EV batteries from China totaled $6.2 billion. For the entire year of 2023, that figure reached $13 billion, about a 40% increase from 2022 and a six-fold surge over the past 3 years. Outcome: U.S. EV prices could rise significantly, slowing global EV adoption. The EV battle between the U.S. and China is not just an economic issue. It also involves national security, technology, and global influence. Both nations are striving to shape the future of the global automotive industry. Number 4. Chip Crisis 2.0. Semiconductors are the heart of all modern technology. Recently, the U.S. government announced plans to increase import tariffs on certain Chinese products, particularly in the solar energy and semiconductor industries. According to the U.S. Trade Representative, USTR, tariffs on imported solar wafers and polysilicon from China will rise from 25% to 50%, taking effect on January 1, 2025. But China could retaliate by restricting exports of key chip-making materials, disrupting the global supply chain. Gallium and germanium are critical materials for semiconductor production, widely used in electronics such as smartphones, electric vehicles, and radar systems. Since China controls the majority of the global supply of these materials, any export restrictions could significantly impact the semiconductor supply chain worldwide. Chip shortages in cars, slower production. Smartphone and laptop launches could be delayed. Tech device prices are set to surge in 2025. Number 3. Energy sector turmoil. China is cutting back on U.S. oil imports, driving down oil prices in the U.S., but in 2024, U.S. crude oil exports to China dropped nearly 50%, reaching only 81.9 million barrels, compared to 150.6 million barrels in 2023. As a result, China fell from the second largest to the sixth largest importer of U.S. crude oil. U.S. oil companies are struggling due to the loss of a major market. China is ramping up oil imports from countries like Russia, Iran, and Venezuela. In 2024, about 26% of China's seaborne oil imports came from these three nations, up from 24% the previous year. China's 10% tariff on U.S. crude oil has made American oil less competitive compared to other suppliers. This could lead to a significant reduction or even a complete halt of U.S. crude oil imports to China. This could be a move that weakens America's dominance in the global energy sector. China's reduced oil imports from the U.S. reflect shifting energy and trade strategies for both nations. It also underscores the importance of supply and market diversification amid an increasingly volatile global economy. Number 2. Healthcare sector faces severe consequences. The U.S. government recently announced plans to increase import tariffs on certain medical products from China in an effort to protect domestic industries and reduce reliance on foreign supplies. Syringes and needles will see their tariff jump from 0% to 50% this year. Personal protective equipment (PPE) such as respirators and face masks will now face a 25% tariff, up from the current 0 to 75% range. By 2026, tariffs on medical and surgical rubber gloves will rise from 7.5% to 25%. Risk of shortages in PPE, syringes, and medications. Healthcare costs could surge, putting pressure on hospitals and patients. Healthcare sector faces severe consequences. Number 1. The global domino effect. The European Union (EU) has decided to impose import tariffs of up to 45.3% on Chinese-made electric vehicles, effective October 31, 2024. Japan and Taiwan tightened imports from China. The global economy could slow down due to a new wave of protectionism. Who do you think will win this battle? Are you willing to pay more for cars, smartphones, or food? Can countries produce everything on their own without relying on China? Or are we entering a prolonged period of economic uncertainty? The U.S. China trade war isn't just a battle between two superpowers. It impacts everyone around the world. Car prices are rising, tech is stalling, energy is volatile, healthcare is at risk. So what do you think? Drop a comment below. See you in the next video with the latest updates.